Hello everyone, this is Maya Joy Kana, and in today's video, which is a special request, I am going to talk about clearing negative or dense or just difficult energies through our system. And like I said, this is a special request video for the Twin Flame community. So I want to start out today by discussing what purging or releasing energies actually is. Then I'm going to talk about why this is something that everyone on the Twin Flame path is going to experience. And then finally, I'm going to talk about ways to support yourself through this process. So first and foremost, what does it mean to be purging? You know, people throw this term around like I'm purging or I'm clearing or I'm releasing. What do they actually mean? Well, the whole basis of this concept is that we store energies in our energy body, in our etheric field. We also store energies in the cells of our body. And many healers, almost all healers, believe that when we experience trauma, we actually store that trauma in our being, in our cellular memory, as they call it. This is more important than you might initially assume, because these energies accumulate in our cellular structure, in our body. And another common term that you'll hear thrown around in the Twin Flame community is ascension. What is ascension? Ascension is actually becoming a more light-bearing being, returning to the natural state of our soul while in our human body, ascending to a higher level of consciousness, ascending to a higher level of light, like actually carrying a higher level of light within our body. Okay, so why is this important? Well, it's important because these energies that are held in the physical structure of our body and in our emotional body and etheric body, they kind of can weigh us down here on this journey. They start to weigh us down. It makes it difficult for us to ascend. It makes it difficult for us to raise our vibration. And what happens is when we are on this twin flame journey, we end up needing to let go of these energies. And to be fair, these energies that we might be purging or releasing that are moving, essentially they're moving out of our being. That's the most important thing for you to know, is that they're moving out. As these energies are moving out, it's not uncommon for us to re-experience some or all of the trauma that was stored within us. So this can feel like very intense emotions. It can feel like death sometimes, extreme sadness, extreme anger that might come out of nowhere. It can feel physically very intense. I tend to process physically in my actual body, and so it can manifest as symptoms of disease, illness, vomiting, headaches, migraines, the inability to sleep, or needing tons of sleep, rashes. That can happen. I mean, if you have energies that are stored, say, in your chest, for example, in your heart, that'd be a place where we might be storing a lot of trauma, and it comes out. You could get a huge rash. You could be itching all over your body. It could manifest in any way, however your body is trying to process and release these energies, okay? And when people say that they're purging or releasing, it means that they're going through a very difficult time. Most likely. This can be very, very difficult, but it's necessary. It's necessary. So why is it necessary, and why does this happen with genuine twin flames? In order to answer this question, we have to think back to what the twin flame journey is actually about, okay? So some people have the misconception that this is about romance and having a fairy tale partnership. And certainly twin flames have the most beautiful relationship and partnership and union that's available on the planet. But that's not actually what the journey is about. When you're having the twin flame experience, we have to remember what this experience actually is. There was a time in your soul history where you and your twin flame were one united being. You started out as one united being, an androgynous soul that had equal parts, masculine and feminine. We were one with our twin flame at the beginning of our soul journey when we emerged from Source. At some point in time, and I believe different twin flames made this decision at different times, but at some point in time on your soul journey, you said, let's take this one being that we are and let's divide into two. And there could have been different reasons why you did this, but you did this. And by the time that you meet your twin flame in the physical, right? You walk these different paths where often, your twin flame's incarnate and you're not, or you are, or your twin flame's not. We live tons of lifetimes where we are separate from our twin flame. By the time that you meet your twin flame and start coming into union, it means that you have completed every single experience as a soul that you wanted to complete before reunifying, and it means that your twin flame has experienced every single experience that they needed to understand themselves as well. So when we are talking about coming into union with our twin flame and remerging back into oneness, which is what union is, back into our single being state, when we are talking about that, that means that we have gone through a lot. If we are ready to reunify with our twin flame and come back to being one united being again, it is because we have had a huge myriad of experiences. Just think about it. Just think about what it means to have been complete in that individual journey. It means that you've experienced the highest highs that are available, and it means that you've experienced the lowest lows that are available as a soul, because ultimately the incarnation process is about balance and wholeness, okay? So think just about some of the history on this planet. Think about the number of wars that there has been. Think about the amount of genocide that there's been. Think about things like the Salem witch trials, where people were actually killed, burned alive because of their psychic abilities. That's just one small example, but there's been tons of trauma on this planet. If you are actually at a time period where you are coming back into union with your twin flame, then believe me, you have experienced a lot of trauma, and that trauma is often not dealt with at the time. And I think what people need to realize is that our soul level trauma, most of it is carried with us from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. A lot of our fears that we have in this lifetime, a lot of our triggers that we have in this lifetime, a lot of the things that bring up emotion, that make us feel sick, that make us feel unwell, don't necessarily have anything to do with this lifetime. They may be things that came from other lifetimes that we lived that have just never been dealt with, okay? So the reason why I'm saying this is because it's really important to understand that your job when you are purging or you are releasing is to get that stuff out of your being. And I think that the more that we can disidentify with what is coming through, the better. Because where people get really pulled down on this journey is when they attach to their triggers, when they attach to what they're purging. Okay, so if you have things coming out of your body, for example, and you have that sense, okay, my system's trying to get rid of something. It could be severe trauma from a past life, and it could be manifesting as a rash plus a headache, or it could be manifesting as feeling like psychosis plus depression. I'm just saying. As that's moving through, the most important thing, I believe, personally on my journey, is to not attach to it. To immediately identify, okay, I am purging, I am releasing energies from my body, and to make the decision straight away to support this process that is coming up for you. To be fair, I've been on this journey for a while. This is an ongoing part of the journey. In the beginning, when I was just starting to clear through lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of trauma, there were frequent time periods where I would go in a room and close the curtains and close the door and be in darkness and just clear energies for a month at a time. I know that not everyone can do that, but I'm telling you, that's how intense it was. And it felt like I was dying. It felt like I could not go on, all right? And I believe that our guides will give us as much as we can handle based on our life circumstances at the time. I had free time. I could handle apparently quite a lot. What can be problematic is when we take sort of an amorphous feeling of being triggered or an amorphous feeling of releasing or purging, and we try to attach to it and we try to explain it. What is causing this? What is causing that? What is causing my physical symptoms? What is causing my spiritual symptoms? What is causing my psychological symptoms? And we start to make up stories, because when energy is trying to move through you, it will move through you. The body, the energy body, the soul, and the physical body all naturally detox and purge themselves every single day, okay? Being near your twin flame, it ignites a process in your being, of your soul, of wanting to merge back into oneness. And it's not a choice that you're making consciously. Your soul is making the choice. It's saying, it feels this magnetic pull to your twin flame, if you really are twin flames, to want to come back into oneness. However, the reason why the purging process and the clearing process takes place is because in order for your soul to merge back into its complete state, it has to let go of everything and clear out, essentially like burn off all the energies that are not true to your soul before you come back together. And that's a lot of clearing. Your soul has a plan for this. Your body has a plan for this. It knows what it's doing. Your ego mind doesn't know what it's doing, okay? But your physical body knows. Your cellular structure knows. If your cells decided that they were going to release certain memories or certain traumas, they did it intentionally because they intended to transform. It's not like you made the choice, you know what, cells, let's transform and let's go and become the 12-strand DNA from the 3-strand DNA. That didn't originate in your conscious mind. Your system knew, now's the time, we're going to do this. And so you need to trust that your system knows what it is doing, and do not try to make up stories about what it is about. And God forbid, do not try to blame your twin for making you feel bad. This process is so much more than that. This process is so much more than what we can even conceive of. This is a purification of the soul. I am amazed by the amount of purging that has taken place. I mean, I have been clearing energies for about 6 to 8 hours per day, every day, for 3 years since meeting my twin flame. So this is a very real phenomenon. And the more contact that you have with your twin flame, the more purging that's going to actually happen. Because the more that you're together, the more that your soul wants to reunite. And in order for that to happen, you've got to burn off all these things that are not true to who you are. So there's so much that can be said about tips for helping with the purging process. I'm just going to mention a few self sort of care things that come up for me when I think of purging and releasing, but just know that there are tons and tons of things that you can do to help. One of the things that I suggest doing is going fully into it. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you can afford to do it, if you're having a day of total purging, to take the day off work, to stay home, to let the emotions move through you without needing to know where they came from. For example, it's not uncommon to feel like you just need to just cry all day without even knowing why it is that these emotions are actually coming through to you. You don't need to know where they came from. You just need to let them move through you, to let the energies move through you. You can also set the intention to let energies move through you using meditation. What I typically do is I transmute with the heart chakra. So I take energies in my field. I sort of feel where they are that need to be transmuted, no matter where they came from, if they're mine, if they're my twin flames, that's still mine, or if they're clients or whatever. I take them and I will usually move them through my crown chakra because that's my most giantly open chakra in my body. You could use whichever one works for you. And I bring them through my heart and transmute them into love. and then I move them out through my root chakra. Having some sort of system that works for you that you can visualize in a meditative state is really helpful for clearing energies. I also recommend working with crystals. I wore one of my very powerful transmuter crystal necklaces today. This is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is an excellent crystal for absorbing negative, dense energies that might be moving through your field when you are purging. If you can afford to get crystals, I definitely recommend raw black tourmaline as one to use when you are purging energies. Another thing that I think of as being absolutely essential is sage, and you saw me sort of smudging the camera at the beginning of this video. That's a good way, if not a necessary way, on a day-to-day basis for us to clear energies out of our field that might have accumulated there because of this process of purging and clearing energies to come back into soul unity. Also, salt baths, basically just filling a bathtub with water, add Epsom salts, add baking soda, add whatever salt that you have, that will support your body physically in releasing these cellular level traumas. Be prepared. It will definitely increase your heart rate, cause a lot of sweating, etc. But it is a very good practice when you are really in the thick of it with your purging. We also need to support our bodies physically through this process. Getting a lot of water, drinking tons of water is a good way to help your body to release these energies. We must do this clearing work. It is very unlikely that you will get into physical union with your twin flame unless you take responsibility for all the energies that are coming up within you and do the work to clear those energies. Like I said, there are tons of ways to clear energies. You could use tuning forks, you could use sound bowls, you can use toning. Those are just some sound ways. You can use light, you can use colored light, you can use different wavelengths of light to clear out your field. You can make huge dietary changes that will catalyze cellular transformation in your body. You can do whatever you want to clear the energies, but the important thing is that you do it. If you don't regularly clear the energies that are moving through your being and you don't purge through those energies, then you most likely are not going to be able to come into union with your twin flame because you're not going to be clear enough in your being to make space for the union itself. If you are crowded out with trauma, dark energies, etc. in your being and in your field, your twin flame is not going to want to be anywhere near you because it's going to feel absolutely horrible to them when they come near you. And this is one of the reasons why we feel so triggered by our twin flame. Our soul is pulling us towards them. Our soul wants to reunify. If you met your twin flame, it's because your soul wants to reunify, okay? And our soul tries to come back together and fit back together magnetically, like how we were when we first separated apart. But it can't because there's all this debris in our field, all this debris caused by trauma or caused by distortion or caused by mind control or caused by our poor diet, our negative thoughts, all these different things that we've done to ourselves. And it's essential to admit that we chose every experience that we had as a soul and that any trauma that's within us was of our own creation and our own desire, and to not blame anyone else for what happened to us, ever, never. We must own it as ours in order to feel empowered enough to clear through it. I chose the experience that made me feel this way, that accumulated this energy in my field, and I am the master of this energy, and I will clear through this energy now because it is mine, and I chose it, and I created it. That's when we're empowered in the purging process. So I think this has been quite a bit of information already, but just some key closing points. When you are working through this purging process, do not blame anyone, including yourself. It's nobody's fault. It's just a part of the process that's going through. And certainly don't blame your twin flame, okay? Another thing is you must allow this process to unfold and figure out a way, whatever is resonant for you, to support your being in releasing these negative energies. And to do that every day, when energy's in your field, it's because your higher self believed that it could clear through it, okay? Be willing to forgive yourself and nurture yourself through this process. No one's going to save you. No healer can save you. You have to heal yourself. That is the only way. You have to take responsibility for the energies that are in your field, and you have to purify them. And if you do this, it will make space in your field for miracles, for gifts to unfold. It will make this space necessary for you to actually come into union, and it will make you finally very attractive to your twin flame, because once we get rid of all these things that we picked up along the way that are not us, and once we get those things out of our field, guess what? We return to the pristine state of our soul. And when we are radiating at our true soul frequency, our twin flame is magnetized to us completely and is actually able to come back and to merge with us, which is what we are all aiming towards. That is what we are all aiming towards on this journey. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope that all of us can become very masterful in this process of clearing energies and very accepting of the fact that this is a part of the twin flame journey and that this is a beautiful experience of the soul. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and namaste. Bye.